Hello FiTech friends, today I wanted to show you how to replace the FiTech ECU. It is a super simple and easy process and you can do it pretty quick. Some things that you should always note is where all the wires are going. So I wrote them down here. So we have the O2 wiring. I put that on the passenger side because it's on the passenger side. The IAC motor, passenger side. Throttle position sensor, passenger side. Main harness, which is everything that goes to the car, that sticks out the front. And then the handheld wiring goes out the driver's side into the back of the unit. Now, this is a very simple process. And you don't really need any tools for it. All you need is a 3/16 Allen wrench and a 9/64 Allen wrench. And basically, all we're gonna do is take off this side, and then we'll take off the middle. Super easy. I'm just gonna start on the driver's side, doesn't really matter which side you do first, honestly. There's 2 bolts. This bolt's a little tricky just because the linkage is in the way, but not that tricky. Take that bolt off. Basically, this side just pulls right on off. Boom, done. How easy was that? Then I am going to take off this side. It is the exact same process. 2 bolts. And this is the same for all FiTech throttle body units, 4-barrel at least. And just make sure, of course, you don't lose any of the stupid bolts. We've all been there, and then you'll be searching for it for an hour. And then you just pull this bad boy off, set it aside. Alright, take those 2 off. And then I'm going to disconnect some of the wires. Super easy. Boom. Just a simple connector. Lift up, pull out. Injector ones are even easier. You literally just wiggle them a little bit, pull them out. Wiggle, pull. Fairly easy. Doesn't fight you a whole lot. And this is what I mean by keeping track of your wires. This is the IC motor, runs down the passenger side. And then here's your O2 sensor wire, runs down the passenger side. Super easy. Let's disconnect the wires on this side. Pull plug. Pull plug. Pull plug. Got those all out. That's free. Perfect. Now I'm just going to take off the front. Super easy. That's where your little baby Allen wrench comes in. 9/64. Unscrewed. Stupid easy. This might be one of the easiest repairs you ever make on your vehicle. Don't lose it. And these bolts that hold the fuel injectors, they're all the same size. So you don't have to worry about mixing that up either. And this really is not a difficult project. If I can do it, you can do it. And there's 4 bolts on this side and 2 bolts on the injector side. Just make sure you don't lose anything. You want to keep your washers on there. They're locking. Important. Vibration makes things come out real fast. And that is the last bolt. And then you just want to make sure one last time you got everything disconnected. If you don't got everything disconnected for wiring, you start tugging away. Oh, and then I forgot the throttle position sensor right here. Super easy. Lift and pull. You might have to take out this injector. Nope. You didn't have to take out the injector. Now, there's this wire right here. It is for a sensor of some sort. Air temperature, I believe. Pull that. All you do on this connector is push down and pull out. Now when you're dealing with wiring, it is very important to grab the connectors. Do not just grab the wires and start yanking. Wires are very fragile. And I want you to, and it's super easy. Literally out in less than 5 minutes. With a little preparation, we know where all the wires go for the new ECU. Alright, let's put the FiTech unit back together with the new ECU. This is a super pain in the butt part. So we have written down where all the wires go. The problem with putting this back together is there is a lot of wires and not a lot of space. And I want you to be very, very careful with this one. This has super tiny gauge wires going through it. If you're rough with this, you could easily break this. Now, what I like to do is do the long wires first because they have channels underneath the fuel injectors to go in. Now when you do this, grab your long wires. Make sure that everything goes together. So we want to put the O2 sensor, the IAC motor, which is this one, and the throttle position sensor all on the same side. Now, be very careful. Do not tug on wires. Just be gentle. So I have the long wires grabbed. Let's see if I can stand this up like this. Put them in the channel first. In the butt. Now, just gotta be very, just take your time. There's no rushing this. Another thing you need to make very careful is this grommet. It has to go in perfectly or you're going to create just all kind of havoc with this sensor. If you pinch it, it won't read. And these are the ground wires which bolt right there. I'm going to ground these directly to a good ground point on my car. I've heard of people having issues where the screw comes loose and just wreaks all kinds of havoc. So I'm going to plug this back in. Always make sure you get this freaking thing. You don't want to take it all apart just for one little silly wire. So we have these partially run. This one. Goes down. The temperature sensor goes down out the front. Super easy. What is this one? This wire goes on that side. On this side, we still want to grab the longest wires, put them in the channel. Try to get them all together. I want to keep all the injector wires together. This one goes down this channel. 50. Close. This is going to go down with this one. Just take your time. You do not want pinched wires. Just wreak havoc. And you want to get this part on first. We want to start connecting things. We want to get everything in the proper channels. So once you get all the wires going, you want to put these bolts in. Do not snug them up yet. You want to take your time. Make sure that nothing is pinched. I mean, you gotta be gentle with these kinds of things or you're just gonna ask for trouble. And I think one issue I have is this wire should be more with the injector wires because the plug is right there, as you can see. So I'm probably gonna have to at least loosen this up, rework some of the wires, get these more lined up. But on this side, this side's a little bit easier. You have only 2 things that go on this channel, and the rest is just, oh, wait, 3 things. This goes to your distributor, comes out the back. This is what I mean. You want to get everything perfect in that channel, and you have no room for error. I mean, look how small that space is. I mean, these spaces are tiny. If they would have just given you just a little bit more, it would have been super easy. Super easy. Be right back. I'm gonna loosen this up. Move this wire with the injector wires. Hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier. So, of course, you gotta take bolts out. Alright, I reworked the wires. Now I have the throttle position wire with the fuel injection wires, the injector wires. Now, I still have not clamped down on this. You want to make sure there is no wires being pinched. Now, as I said, this is optional for you. I'm going to run this to a solid ground on my car. So, well, if you have this sticking out or not, that's up to you. Now, what goes in front is all the wires to the car. So if you have fans, that's in this harness. If you have nitrous, the power wires, that's in the front. On this side, you also have the temperature sensor wire. And then you probably aren't going to see it very well on camera, but that grommet I told you about, you must make sure that goes in properly. If it does not go in properly, you are going to have issues. Now, just make sure some more, no pinched wires. Make sure all this is together. Makes life a lot easier for you. Which it is. The spark plug, or the, sorry, injection wire should be nice and tight in this channel. And yes, it is a very small area to work with. You also have no wire sticking out here. Everything seems nice and tight. Now just go real slow, tightening these up, making sure there's still no wires that are going to break on you. Go in a opposite pattern, which means basically a star, except with only 4 points. Tighten here, tighten here, tighten here, tighten here. And just go in a nice slow motion. Don't over tighten one or you're gonna break the ear off. I don't know about you, but that would drive me mad. So tighten it up a little bit more. Tighten this side a little bit. Tighten here. Tighten here. Tighten this one. Make sure no wires are being pinched. You do not want issues with your new stuff. Make sure everything's free in here. As it's gonna get. I don't know why they crammed so much stuff in here. They could make this so much easier. That's okay. Still gonna do it. Remember, this does not need to be super tight. Don't go all Hulk on this stuff. Still made in China, still will break. Gap is clear. Just check to make sure all the wires, nothing's pinched. Everything is where you want it to go. All right. I wrote down what injector goes to what. I wrote it down on my fancy little piece of paper. On the passenger side, it goes 2684. On the driver's side, 1573. I don't know what kind of order that is. I don't know who can't count or put numbers in. That's a discussion for a different day. So the first one I'm going to do is the passenger side. I think I'm going to try to put the throttle position sensor in first, or maybe not. Nope. I think I have a pinched wire. That's what I'm talking about. Go slow. I should have solved that. This is just so tight. See right there? You want these all in that channel. Hopefully I don't have to take this all apart again. Move it over. And this is just ridiculous. That's okay. We'll get her done. I want this to be perfect. I don't want issues. Alright, we got that wire back in its channel. Hopefully that's the last little hiccup. So get this plugged in first. I'm going to remove this injector. It's not worth bending a tab or move injectors. You just got to pull. A little bit of wiggly wiggly. Alright. Get it in as straight as possible. Don't want to bend a tab. There we go. Alright. We're going to put this injector back in. I suggest using a little bit of silicone paste. Just a little lube around the seals. You don't need to drown the damn thing in lube. Put the bad boy back in there. Sometimes they persuasion. Alright, what were the numbers again? So 2 and 6 go together. 4 apparently goes on the very end. It'll be fun. Four. Oh man, I got lucky. 8. Four, 8, 2, and 6. 2. Make sure they're all the way in there. Don't break anything though. Mistakes with electronics can be very expensive. Holy mackerel. One side is done. And then we have the idle air control motor. Super easy. Maybe. Looks like the clip on this one is damaged. FiTech quality, I guess. I'm going to see if I can steal the connector off of the old one, hopefully. Because that is not good. FiTech quality, I tell you what. Actually, I really don't mind FiTech. It's worked. It's worked for many years. Okay, make sure you have these back in the channels. Now these wires you do not want to be rubbed on with your throttle, so we're gonna have to hopefully start with the longest one. So we want 153 or 1573. So 3. This one. One. 7. 7. 5. Okay. 6. make sure those are nice and tight in there. And then we will be doing some zip tying to keep all these wires out of the way. Like that. This is what I'm talking about. You do not want that constantly hitting on wires. It is just a problem. Broken injector wires, everything else. I'm going to zip tie these three together. Oh man, my zip tie skills are not very good. This is a little bit of a tight space in here. This and get it underneath there. Okay. Well, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a gap between that and the wires. Nothing is hitting. Perfect. Trim off these zip tie ends. Super easy. Now, haven't tightened this all the way up yet. Now everything's in the channel. It goes in super easy. Make sure on this side again, everything goes in super easy. Remember, just little adjustments at a time. You don't want to break an ear off. Boom. And you don't need these to be super tight. Be gentle. Be gentle with your stuff. In, and I'm barely turning these. I'm not going full Hulk on this stuff. Okay, boom, easy. Hard part's done. Now, this is the easiest part now. We're gonna put these on, but first, we're gonna use my friend silicone paste just around the top of the oil or the injector O-rings. Super. You don't need a lot. Just a little bit. Make sure all of your injectors are pretty even apart. Line. Let's see if I can show you guys that. Boom. Slides right on. Oh, but I forgot. Slides right off. We need our trusty O-rings. I got these O-rings at Harbor Freight. Now, I did some measuring before. It is these ones on the top right if you buy this kit. Now I like push these in. They have their own little channels. And then I put a little bit of silicone grease on top of them. Just a little bit. I do that because when I put this on and tighten it down, I don't want it to rip or snag or grab onto just the bare metal. I like a little lubrication. We don't want to damage the O-ring or gas is going to come peeing out your car. Again, just line it up, push it on, boom, you're golden. Put the screws back in. Start by hand threading your screws. You do not want to just put a power tool on, cross thread, all that other business. Take the time. These things aren't exactly cheap. Now go until it's snug with your hand on this side. Do the same on the other side. All right. Now again, I just want to do a little bit at a time. There you go. That's a little bit. And I'm not snugging these down to an ungodly amount either. And go back and forth, back and forth. You want even pressure on those O-rings, or guess what? It's gonna leak. Same thing for the other side. Super easy. I'm just gonna use a little lube. Maybe a little too much lube. Do as I say, not as I do. I get a little crazy with stuff. Same thing, pop out the O-rings. You don't want to use something metal for this because you can scar the metal. And then guess what? It's gonna leak. A little copper. Oh, this isn't copper, it's a little probe for my multimeter. These things are stubborn. There we go. 2 more O-rings. Push them in their channel. There's a little channel. Super easy. Sure they're in there good. You want to make sure they're actually in the channel because you can clamp this down and then they will leak. And then you'll be like, damn it. Not that it's really hard to fix. You just need new O-rings. Slides right on there. In. Last 2 screws. Super easy. This one is a little bit of a pain in the butt, but all you do is open the throttle a little bit, slide her in. Remember, start it with your hand. Don't get any power tools on this thing. Hand tight. little bit there. There. Tight. Tight. Guess what? You're done. Super easy. Nothing broken. Take your time. Do it the right way the first time. All the wires aren't smushed. Alright guys, it's been fun. All the stuff I used will be in the links in the description. O-rings and ECU and 2 Allen wrenches. Super easy.